Hello YouTube, this is William, out here whittling on a stick. Thought maybe I would address a few things that evidently there's a lot of new customers that is new to WC knives, and so I was going to address a few things that has come up over the past month or so. Using that little fire and bone, the new Coarse, well, I don't say copy because it is. I don't copy anything. It is my version of the Coarse. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. 1/8 inch steel, 4-inch blade, probably about 9 inches overall, something like that. Beautiful little knife. I love this knife. All right, so it's very quickly becoming one of my go-to knives. But anyway, all right, let's talk about some things that has come up that I've addressed in various videos, but I haven't put all of these into one. And so I'm going to put all of these into this one video, so if somebody has an issue, then I'm just going to cut and paste this video link in there so they can watch this, okay? All right, so let's talk about edges right quick. First of all, the edges that the knife will come with a very coarse edge. It's because I prefer coarse edges. I think they cut better. I don't think they cut better. I know they cut better. I've done tests, and I'll put a link in that video of the test that proves it at the end of this one. All right. I prefer a coarse edge. Okay. I think that the knives last, the edges last longer. They cut better, so on and so forth. So that's what I recommend. Now, when you get your knife, if you don't like a coarse edge and you want to put a polished edge on there, that is your prerogative. That is your knife. But the knife will come with a coarse edge, okay? The other thing is my angles on my blades, or my grinder is set up digitally at 12.5 degrees on either side, okay? So that creates a very fine edge. That includes sabers, that includes full flats, that includes everything. Basically, it is a Scandi edge all the way through. So they're very simple to sharpen. All right, so you got the same angle all the way through. But with doing that, we're walking a very fine line as far as durability and all of this other stuff. But doing that, you actually get a knife that cuts better. Okay, that's the reason I have so many repeat customers coming back for more and more and more, is because my knives cut better than anybody else's. It's because I use a very fine edge. And during that final process of polishing the blades, sometimes we use Scotch-Brite belts to get that final polish on the edges. And if those Scotch-Brite belts are overused, we try to change them out about every third or fourth knife, and those things are like 20 bucks a piece. So we sometimes we stretch it a little bit too close. But anyway, that heat causes, or that friction causes heat. And the very fine edge on some blades, not all of them, but on some of them, especially on the stainless steel, because they're air hardened. So that very fine edge that is on my knives will crystallize. It's a very minute edge, will crystallize and get very, very hard. So if you use it on very dense material like chopping or beating on limbs or things like that the first time or two, then that very fine edge is going to chip very slightly, okay? There's nothing wrong with the knife. Like I said, every knife when it leaves my shop is Rockwell tested to make sure it falls within, well, the stainless steels that fall between 61 and 63. Okay, that's very high. Now, I agree with that, but that's fine. Those steels will handle that. Now, the 01s and the 3Vs and things like that, the carbon steels will keep below 60. Okay, we keep those around 58 to 59, somewhere along in there. Okay, so, but anyway, that knife is fine. There's nothing wrong with the knife. You just need to sharpen it back to that Rockwell hardness of 61 to 63, okay? So once you get past that crystallized edge, it'll perform like no other knife you've ever used, okay? That's why in our videos you can see us going through bone, you can see us going through a lot of very dense materials once that edge gets back to that Rockwell hardness that it's designed to be, okay? So don't think that there's a problem with the knife. Just keep sharpening it and you'll be fine, okay? The other thing is the tips on the knives, on my knives, are very fine. on many of the models. And if you get that into a tight spot and you get a little side pressure on that, it'll tip, it'll break off, and you know, hard and just kind of sink. Done it many times. I know the feeling. I really do. On my knives, on other people's knives, it's just one of those things with very fine tips when you're carving, especially, or when you're in joints, dejointing game. You got to watch that. I mean, slightest twist or the slightest side pressure, and that very fine tip is going to snap. Happens every time. It's not a warranty issue. If you want to send it back to me, I will fix it, but it's not a warranty issue. It is it's just one of those things that you have to fix. It's a tool. You got to maintain it. You got to sharpen it. You got to take care of these things. And if you break the tip on it, then you got to put it back. And it's very simple. If you keep sharpening it like you always sharpen a knife. Just keep sharpening it. That tip will come right back. All right, it'll come right back on that knife. So just keep sharpening. It takes patience. Yeah, it's a pain. Yeah. But I guarantee you do it a few times, it'll happen less and less, okay? So you'll learn what not to do. But anyway, just keep sharpening it, and that tip will come right back, all right? Okay, I think I've covered the main issues that people, I don't know if they complain about, but they get concerned about and send me an email and say, hey, man, this is happening, and I explain it to them in the email, and oh, okay, thanks. And I never hear from them again. So I assume that that's taking care of the problem. And even me testing knives, I've seen that those issues happen. And it's just a matter of keep sharpening. And one thing I will say, this is AEBL. Both AEBL and Nitro V seem to get better the more you sharpen, the more you use it. And I don't know why that is, but that's the case. Now, granted, these edges are very fine. 12.5 degree is a very fine edge. And if you find that you would prefer in your daily task a very more robust edge, then of course you can change that angle on your own. I mean, it's your knife, you can do whatever you want to. But these knives were designed for slicing, for cutting, for game prep, for wood carving, things like that. It's not really designed to be cutting real dense material, okay? But if you find that the edge is just not robust enough for what your use is, then you can change that bevel. And when you're sharpening it, instead of laying it down very shallow like that, then you can pick it up just a little bit and change that bevel into a more like a 15 or 18 degree bevel, and it'll be a little bit stronger edge. Okay, that's the reason that knives from other companies come with a 22 degree bevel is because people are complaining because the edges are not holding up, but they don't cut very well. And that was one of my pet peeves. I always hated that because I would have to change the angle on every knife I ever bought because it just didn't cut. I mean, you'd have to pick it up so it'd be like this, trying to cut something and just drive into the wood. You couldn't carve with it. You couldn't do anything with it. So I like those edges. You can lay it down flat and do that fine carving and cutting. Okay, just like that. See, most knives with their bevels, the knife has to pick up like that. And I'll put a link to a video that I did explaining all that, why my bevels are so, I don't know if it's shallow or steep. It's shallow, I guess. Shallow is probably. But why my bevels are different. Okay, so I'll put a link to that video there. There's probably a lot of new customers that haven't seen those old videos and understand things. But these knives are designed for a reason. Every angle, every curve, every point is for a reason. So anyway, it wasn't something I just drew on paper and said, oh, man, that looks cool. No, I don't go that way. That ain't the way I go. But anyway, I hope this answered some of your questions, and congratulations on getting a WC knife. And I guarantee you, once you use it a few times and sharpen it a few times, that you will be back for more. Everyone so far has. It's like Lay's potato chips. Can't have just one. All right. So congratulations. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You guys are awesome. And if it wasn't for you, I would not be here. And until the next one, you guys get in the backyard, whittle on a stick. Be sure to take a child with you. And don't forget those plenty of Band-Aids and lots of knives. And y'all have a very safe and happy new year. Talk to you later.